broken my heart so many times I stopped keeping track.
Loves or those leanings, it's always good to get out there and try new stuff and try new wines.
Well, and you know, in Pinot Noir, it's not like you can grow it just anywhere. I mean, you never see an Alexander Valley or a Dry Creek Pinot Noir. It's too hot. That grape does not like that heat. So you're limited to the coastal region, the Russian River,
right.
Some of the Anderson Valley areas, and then Carneros. And for this part of California, that's kind of, I don't know if you can even get into Sonoma Valley, can you? It's a little hot.
No, just on the eastern edge, you know, there's definitely, but that's kind of getting up into Carneros and stuff. There's some really beautiful Pinots, actually like Three Sticks that we were talking about earlier. That Durrell Pinot is like right on the verge of Sonoma Coast, Sonoma Valley, and Carneros. It actually intersects the estate.
Well, it's got to have that fog component coming in. You can't have 90-degree weather going into 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
That Pinot's going to shrivel up and be gone.
No, you can't. And then, you know, of course, down the Central Coast, you know, there are some great Pinots there. But you're right. The determining factor is closeness to either the coast or the bay.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's where the home run Pinots are going. Yeah. You're not going to be drinking, or you shouldn't probably be drinking Sonoran Pinot.
Right. Well, it's just like we talked about Oregon. You know, that's why Oregon really leans so heavily toward the Pinot, because their weather doesn't allow them to grow Cabs or Merlot. I mean, they've tried and they're horrible. And it's because they don't have the right weather, and they figured out the right wine. And they do a hell of a job on Pinot. I mean,
you know, the ageability and you know, the difference though. And I love Oregon Pinots, and they tend to have great acidity, great structure, great ageability. They're less consistent in their vintages compared to here.
Well, and don't you think some of that is the weather restraints? I mean, because they get those late rains that we don't, you know, we don't normally see that normally. I know. Here we are in November. It's 80 degrees out. Like you still want to grow the grapes.
Yeah.
Now, and speaking of that, now I haven't checked with anybody because most of my vintners have already picked. But I'm thinking, did some of them want to kick themselves that picked a little bit early? Because that weather we had today was really nice. If you were finishing up on Chardonnay or, you know, a Cab or something, man, I think that would have hung in there pretty good.
Yeah, you know, I have a feeling, you know, this vintage is going to be spotty, and there are going to be some great places. I mean, I know people, you know, who their Pinot Noir, unbelievable. Zinfandel took a beating.
Oh yeah,
it took a beating.
And I think Chardonnay is going to get whacked pretty good too, because that was late. I mean, really late.
Really late. Yeah. But I think that because of the hang time, there is going to be some. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be spotty. But there, I think, going to be some great Pinot vintages this year.
And lower yields too. So that's
lower yields. Exactly.
That's
so there's always gems in every vintage. There's always something. But
we have an advantage.
Across the board.
We complain about it because it's so unusual that we didn't have no rain from March all the way till the end of October. I mean, that's kind of our MO. We do it every year.
Right.
So when we get these freaky rain and things that we've had, all of a sudden we're complaining. We're going, God, we're living in this terrible place. Yeah. But you know, it could be snowing too. You know.
Yeah, it's like kind of a challenging vintage, 1 out of 12.
Yeah, right.
You know, believe me. But again, you know, I'm a huge fan of Oregon Pinot.
Yeah,
and
I am too.
And there's greatness and there, and
but they're very different than the Pinot.